35 Facts about the origin of the Vatican and its history. The Vatican has one of the most fascinating and surprising histories, dating back from the times of martyrs in early Christianity to some of the darkest episodes of Catholicism, such as the period of pornocracy and the trial of a corpse. This smallest sovereign state in the world holds some records, such as the lowest crime rate and the highest wine consumption on the planet. In this video, we will answer questions like, how did the Vatican come to be? Why does it get this name? What were the main events in its history? How is it financed, and what is your current economic situation? The Vatican is a city-state ruled by the Pope as an absolute, theocratic monarch. Before we dive in deep, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to stay up to date with our information. Number 1. Origin of the Vatican. In ancient Rome, the Lager Vaticanos was an alluvial plain located on the right bank of the Tiber River, bordered by the Janiculum, Mount Marius, and Vatican Hill. This area extended to Ventino Hill and the Cremera stream. Over time, the term began to be used to refer to a more restricted area, which included Vatican Hill, where Vatican City and its most emblematic buildings are currently located. This encompasses St. Peter's Basilica, St. Peter's Square, the Vatican Museums, the Sistine Chapel, and the Papal Apartments. The origin of the term Vatican may be related to an ancient Etruscan settlement called Vatican. In Rome's early centuries, the Lager Vaticanos marked the city's boundary, separating it from the powerful Etruscan city of Vels. Number 2. Nero's Circus. Also known as Nero's Circus, it was an entertainment venue built on the Vatican Hill, when this area was still outside the city walls. Its construction began with Caligula, who chose the site in the area of a villa belonging to his mother, Agrippina the Greater. When Agrippina passed away, her grandson Nero inherited the estate and completed it. Most of the shows held at the circus during Nero's reign, such as horse racing and chariot racing, were private events, although occasionally the arena was open to the public. In 64 AD, the emperor used the circus to shelter Roman citizens who had lost their homes due to the Great Fire in Rome. Number 3. The place of martyrs in Nero's Circus. In the year 65, the Circus of Nero, also known as Nero's Circus, was the scene of extensive executions of Christians accused by the emperor of causing the Great Fire of Rome. This location also witnessed the martyrdom of the apostles Peter and Paul. Later, in the 2nd century of the Common Era, the circus was abandoned. The area was divided and granted to private individuals for the construction of tombs and a necropolis that was established there. Some of the remaining circus structures were used in the construction of the ancient St. Peter's Basilica during the reign of Emperor Constantine the Great. Number 4. The Vatican Obelisk. The Vatican Obelisk was brought from Egypt by Emperor Caligula. The obelisk, which now stands in the center of St. Peter's Square, was brought by Caligula from the Egyptian city of Heliopolis in the year 37. He brought it to the circus he was building on his mother's property. After this property passed into the hands of Nero, the stone monument remained in place for more than 1,500 years. In 1586, the obelisk, made of red granite and 25.3 meters high, or almost 40 meters including the cross on its top, was relocated to St. Peter's Square. It is the only one of the 13 Egyptian obelisks in Rome that has never fallen. Number 5. The crucifixion of Peter. According to Christian tradition, the Apostle Peter was crucified in Nero's circus around the year 67, the penultimate year of the rule of Agrippina the Minor's son, who was adopted by Claudius. Traditionally, Christians claim that, upon being sentenced to death, Peter asked to be crucified head down on an inverted Latin cross, as he did not consider himself worthy to die in a similar way to Jesus. Belief points out that Peter was martyred in Nero's Circus on the Vatican Hill and was buried not far from the supposed tomb of the apostle and first pope. This tomb is found in a cave beneath the papal altar in St. Peter's Basilica. Number 6. The Vatican used to offer terrible wine. In the Vatican, wine of dubious quality used to be offered. This goes back to the Gospels, in which Jesus and his disciples shared wine at the Last Supper, making this drink a symbol of Christianity and part of the sacrament of the Eucharist. Although Pope Francis, as a good Argentine, prefers made as his usual drink, he also appreciates a good wine to accompany the roast that he usually eats almost raw. Furthermore, since St. Peter, the Catholic Church has had 273 popes, of which 219, about 80%, have been Italian, 15 French, and 5 Spanish. Therefore, it is not surprising that the nectar of the gods is the favorite drink on the papal table. However, it appears that grapes grown around the Vatican in the 1st century produced wine so bad that the poet Martial commented, "Drink the wine of the Vatican and you drink poison." Number 7. The water quality was terrible. The quality of the water in the Vatican was even worse than the wine that was served in the region where Vatican City would later be built. Ancient Roman historian Tacitus recorded that the Vatican area was smelly and rife with disease. Even after Nero completed his circus there in 54 BC, and during the tumultuous year 69 BC, known as the Year of the Four Emperors, when Rome descended into civil war between 4 powerful families, the situation did not improve. That year, Emperors Galba, Otho, Vitellius, and Vespasian ruled quickly in succession. Vitellius, the third of them, arrived in Rome from Germania and camped on the banks of the Tiber River, in the area that today corresponds to the Vatican. Tacitus reports that Vitellius's thirsty soldiers drank water from the river, resulting in a large number of deaths, presumably due to diseases such as dysentery. Number 8. The first St. Peter's Basilica was built by Constantine. Today's St. Peter's Basilica is one of the most recognizable buildings in the world, but it is relatively new, construction beginning in 1506 and completed in 1626. The first St. Peter's Basilica, called the Constantinian Basilica, was begun by Emperor Constantine the Large around the year 330 and took about 3 decades to build. Vatican Hill was already a place of pilgrimage due to the martyrdom of many Christians, including Peter and Paul. However, nothing of the ancient Constantinian Basilica has been preserved. You can see part of the church in the Fire of the Borgo fresco, painted by Raphael in 1514 and currently preserved in the Vatican museums, before it was demolished. Number 9. Pirates looted the Vatican. In August 846, pirates sacked the Vatican after pillaging the coastal cities of Civitavecchia and Portus. Saracen pirates then attacked Rome. Unable to overcome the city walls, they took everything outside, including St. Peter's Basilica. The Constantinian Basilica was protected by a garrison of Frankish, Saxon, Lombard, and Frisian soldiers who offered fierce resistance, but were unable to prevent the theft of valuable liturgical objects as well as ornaments from altars, presbyteries, and other structures. 2 years after this devastating attack, Pope Leo IV ordered the construction of the Leonian Walls, which currently surround St. Peter's Basilica and mark the border of the Vatican State. Number 10. Pope Stephen unearthed corpse. Pope Stephen VI, in May 896, unearthed the corpse of Pope Formosus to judge him, after being crowned with the support of Lambert of Spoleto, the Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire and King of Italy. Upon ascending the papal throne, Stephen VI starred in one of the darkest episodes in the history of the Catholic Church by ordering the exhumation of the corpse of Formosus, his political opponent who had been pope from September 891 to April 896, to put him on trial. The convened council, composed of cardinals allied with the pope, found the deceased guilty of several crimes. Formoso's corpse was placed on a chair and dressed in papal vestments, and then his remains were mutilated and thrown into the Tiber River. Number 11. The government of the courtesans. The Vatican went through a period known as pornocracy, or the rule of courtesans, which occurred in the Catholic Church between the years 904 and 935. During this time, the Pope's mistresses gained notable prominence in Vatican affairs. This period began with the election of Pope Sergius III and continued with Anastasius III, Leo X, Leo VI, Stephen VII, and John VII. Some authors extend this period to the year 964, including Popes Leo VII, Estevao VIII, Marino II, and Agapito II. However, the most prominent figure of this period was Marozia, lover of Sergius III and supposed mother of the future popes Anastasius III and John XI. Number 12. The Vatican and Hadrian's Mausoleum. The Pisido connects the Vatican to Castel San Angelo, also known as Hadrian's Mausoleum. This castle is a Roman fortress that was completed in 139 and is located a short distance from the Vatican. The castle and the Vatican are connected by a corridor called the Pisido de Borgo, which is 800 meters long, 3.5 meters wide, and 14 meters high. It was built in 1277 by Pope Nicholas III and served as a secret escape route. At least Popes Alexander IV and Clement VII managed to save their lives by escaping through the Pisido when they were attacked by their enemies. This corridor became famous thanks to Dan Brown's bestseller, Angels and Demons, which was adapted into a film. Number 13. The popes did not live in the Vatican. For more than 1,000 years, the popes did not reside in the Vatican. Currently, the figure of the Pope is strongly associated with the Vatican, but between the 4th and early 14th centuries, the pontiffs lived in Rome, although not in their current headquarters. Until 1304, the popes resided in the Lateran Palace, which is next to the Basilica of St. John in the Lateran. Currently, the Lateran Palace houses the apartments of the Cardinal Vicar of Rome, offices of the Deanery of Rome, and the Historical Museum of the Pontifical State. Along with the Basilica and other buildings, the palace is under the jurisdiction of the Holy See due to the right of extraterritoriality. After residing in the Lateran until 1309, the popes moved to Avignon, France, where they lived until 1377. Number 14. The papacy remained in Avignon for almost 70 years. Pope Clement V, known for his connection with the extermination of the Order of the Knights Templar, was the first pontiff to establish his permanent residence in Avignon. He made this decision to escape the chaos that Rome had become after his election and his first actions as pope. After Clement V, 6 other popes also resided in Avignon: John XXI, Benedict XII, Clement VI, Innocent VI, Urban V, and Gregory XI. It was only with Gregory XI that the papal see returned to Rome. During this period in Avignon, these 7 popes lived comfortably and securely, enjoying religious freedom under the protection of the King of France. Some Catholic historians refer to this nearly 7-decade period in Avignon as the Second Captivity of Babylon. Number 15. The Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel is the most famous room in the Apostolic Palace, named in honor of Pope Sixtus IV, who ordered its restoration between 1477 and 1480. It was there that Michelangelo painted his most renowned work, the famous fresco The Last Judgment, inspired by the Book of Revelation and painted between 1536 and 1541. This unprecedented work profoundly altered the course of universal art. Furthermore, the Sistine Chapel is the place where the conclave meets to elect a new pope. Number 16. The controversial Pope Borgia. Rodrigo de Borja, originally from Aragon, ascended the throne of St. Peter as Alexander VI in 1492 and led the Catholic Church until his death in 1503. totaling 11 years of a pontificate marked by controversy due to his personal life and the questionable methods he allegedly used against his enemies. After arriving in Italy, he Italianized his surname from Borja to Borgia. During his reign, he and his son Caesar were accused of resorting to extortion, persecution, and murder to finance their plans and defend the Papal States. In 1493, he issued papal bulls that confirmed the rights of the Spanish crown in the New World, following Columbus's voyage of discovery in 1492. Number 17. Pope Borgia was the father of Caesar Borgia and Lucretia Borgia. He became famous for his intense love life, and among his many lovers two stood out: Minocia de Cadani and Giulia Farnese, the latter married several times. Pope Borgia had 4 children with Alexander Sextus: Caesar, Giovanni, Lucrezia, and Jaffer. Caesar Borgia was lord, prince, and duke of dozens of territories, in addition to being cardinal and general captain of the church. He was the main military support of Alexander Sextus, and it is claimed that Machiavelli used him as a model for his work, The Prince. Lucretia Borgia was known in history as a femme fatale, but perhaps she was more of a victim of her father and brother, as they married her several times in political agreements. Another famous lover of Pope Alexander VI was the beautiful Giulia Farnese, who was married to Norsino Orsini. Laura Orsini is believed to have been the daughter of Giulia and Pope Borgia. In addition, 6 other children were attributed to Alexander Sextus, but their paternity remains uncertain. Number 18. In the Vatican, there is only one work signed by Michelangelo. Vatican City is home to several of Michelangelo's creations, including the fresco in the Sistine Chapel and the Dome of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome, which he designed but did not build. However, the only work signed by the great Renaissance master in the Vatican is the Pietà sculpture, located inside the basilica. This sculptural group represents the Virgin Mary holding the body of Jesus in her arms after the crucifixion. Giorgio Vasari wrote about it, stating that it is a work to which no excellent artist can add anything in terms of design, grace, skill, strength, delicacy, smoothness, and sculpture of marble. Number 19. La Guardia Suiza is one of the oldest functioning elite military units. The Swiss Guards are the most recognizable members of the Vatican, standing out for their eye-catching traditional uniforms designed by Michelangelo and their 2.32-meter-long halberds. This military unit is responsible for guaranteeing the security of the Pope and the Holy See. Currently, we have just 135 soldiers, which has become the smallest professional army on the planet. It was founded in the 16th century by Pope Sixtus IV. To join their ranks, inmates must be Swiss citizens, male, Catholic and single, aged between 19 and 30, and with a minimum height of 1.74 meters. Number 20. Pope Leo X's mascot was a white elephant named Hanno. Giovanni and Lorenzo de' Medici, son of Lorenzo the Magnificent, were responsible for the election of Leo X as Pope in 1513. On the occasion of his coronation, King Manuel I of Portugal presented him with a white elephant named Hanno. The pontiff adopted the pachyderm as his mascot and ordered the construction of an enclosure between the Apostolic Palace and St. Peter's Basilica. The elephant became an attraction, and Romans could see it on Sundays and during processions. However, the peculiar climate of Rome did him no good, and he died 2 years after arriving at the Vatican. The affected pontiff watched over him until the end. Number 21. The Pope consumes fresh products daily. The Pope daily consumes fresh produce from his farm, located 18 kilometers southeast of Rome, on the shores of Lake Albano, in the Lazio region. This farm is located in the small Italian town of Castel Gandolfo, famous for being home to the Pope's summer residence. The Lateran Treaty granted this papal palace, built by Urban VIII in the 17th century, the status of extraterritoriality. The cottage on the property was added by Pius XI. This extensive area of 55 hectares includes a farm that supplies fresh products daily to the Vatican kitchen to be consumed by the highest leader of the Catholic Church. Number 22. The popes remained secluded in the Vatican for a period of 60 years. During the unification of Italy, which took place between 1848 and 1871, the popes remained secluded in the Vatican for a period of 60 years. The Papal States, under the leadership of the Holy See, disappeared during this period. The territorial control of the papacy was limited to the Vatican after Pope Pius IX, elected in 1846. During these 6 decades, the popes opposed secular Italian governments and remained within the limits of the Vatican. In fact, Pope Pius IX considered himself a prisoner of the Vatican, as he believed that upon leaving he would be subject to the authority of the Italian government, which they did not recognize. Only in 1929 were these tensions resolved with the signing of the Lateran Treaty, which established the Vatican city-state. Number 23. The Vatican has its own means of communication. The newspaper L'Osservatore Romano, a religious political periodical of the Vatican, was first launched in 1861 in Italian and is now a weekly magazine published in 7 languages. It has 2 mottos that appear on the home page, "To each his own," and "They shall not prevail," the latter making reference to Jesus' words about the gates of hell. Between 2002 and 2019, the newspaper published a women's supplement called Don Chiesa Mondo Women Church World, which addressed issues related to the situation of women in religions. Vatican Radio made its first broadcast in 1931 and now broadcasts in 40 languages. Vatican TV opened its television station in 1983. Number 24. Technology improved the color of smoke during the papal election. During the process of electing popes, the world is kept informed by the color of the smoke coming from the chimney of the Sistine Chapel. If the smoke is black, it means that there is still no agreement on the new pope, while white smoke indicates that the members of the conclave have already chosen the pontiff. Initially, black smoke was obtained by burning ballot papers with damp straw, while for white smoke, dry straw was added. However, this method was inaccurate. Currently, black smoke is produced by adding potassium perchlorate, arsenic, and sulfur, while white smoke contains potassium chlorate, lactose, and rosin. Number 25. A priest proposed the Big Bang Theory. Fortunately, the times when Copernicus did not publish his heliocentric theory during his lifetime due to fear of the Church and when Galileo was persecuted by the Inquisition have been overcome. The Vatican is advancing its own astronomical research. The 20th century Belgian priest and astronomer Georges Lemaitre was the proponent of the Big Bang Theory of the origin of the universe. The Vatican Astronomical Observatory has its main headquarters in Castel Gandolfo, Italy, and also has an operational headquarters at the Stewart Observatory at the University of Arizona in the United States. Number 26. Pius XII was one of the most controversial popes. The Italian Eugenio Pacelli occupied the chair of St. Peter from 1939 to 1958 as Pius XII. His leadership is widely debated. On the one hand, he is accused of having been an ally of Hitler and of not having done enough to combat the persecution of Jews during the Third Reich. However, Jewish historians have recognized that Pius XII protected persecuted Jews in Italy, hiding them and providing them with food in the Vatican, at Castel Gandolfo, as well as in convents and temples. Number 27. There have been 3 African popes throughout history. Over the past 5 decades, the conclave has surprised everyone on 2 significant occasions, with the election of a Polish pope in 1978 and an Argentinian in 2013. However, Considering that Catholicism has had more than 260 pontiffs throughout its history, it is interesting to note that 19 of them were of Asian origin and 3 were African. The election of Asian popes should not be so surprising, since Christianity, in fact, had its roots in Asia. Most Asian popes were of Turkish and Syrian origin. The last African pope was Gelasius I, who was from North Africa and reigned between the years 492 and 496. In addition to him, Victor I and Melquiades, who were originally from Roman Africa, also reigned. Number 28. John Paul II was the most popular pope. The Pole, born Karol Józef Wojtyla, was elected pope in 1978, taking the name John Paul II, and had a pontificate of 27 years, the third longest in the history of the Catholic Church. During this time, he carried out intense apostolic activity, visiting 129 countries, including 5 visits to Mexico. John Paul II was one of the most influential figures of the 20th century and played a crucial role in the fall of communism in his native Poland and other Eastern European countries. In 2014, he was canonized as Saint John Paul II by Pope Francis. Number 29. Vatican citizenship is not acquired by birth. You do not acquire Vatican citizenship by birth in a state whose population is mostly single and childless. Demographic variations occur due to the increase or decrease in job vacancies. Vatican citizenship is not obtained by birth, but by grant. This is unique in the world. In 2011, there were 594 people with Vatican citizenship, including 307 diplomats around the world, 109 members of the Swiss Guard, as well as the Pope and 71 cardinals. The remainder were lower-level clergy and other officials. Number 30. The Vatican is the smallest country in the world. With an area of just 0.49 square kilometers, or 490,000 square meters. It is politically defined as a theocratic elective absolute monarchy of the Catholic faith. The Vatican does not have a coastline or rivers, and its census population in 2019 was 825 inhabitants. The currency used is the euro, although the Vatican lira was officially used until 2002. The official languages are Latin and Italian. The internet domain is .va, the telephone prefix is +379, and the automobile acronyms begin with SCV or CV, which stand for Status Civitatis Vaticani or Civitas Vaticani, referring to the status of the Vatican City. Number 31. The Vatican has its own national football team. The Vatican has its own national football team, which is mainly made up of Swiss guards and museum staff, the majority of whom are Italian citizens. They play football as a leisure activity, as they spend most of their time performing their regular duties at the Holy See. The Vatican team mainly participates in friendly or charity matches. Vatican City is one of the few sovereign states that is not part of FIFA. The Pope's team carries out its training outside Vatican territory at Campo Pio 11 in Italy, as Vatican City does not have space for a football field. The team's uniform consists of the predominant colors of the Vatican flag, with yellow shirts and socks and white shorts. Number 32. The Vatican's main sources of income are donations. Although it also earns a significant amount from ticket sales to visit places of interest and the sale of souvenirs, the Vatican State's economy is mainly supported by donations, especially from wealthy Catholics around the world. These donations, known as St. Peter's Obols, are managed by the Holy See, a term used interchangeably to refer to Vatican City, although in reality it represents the rule of the Pope as Bishop of Rome and his set of administrative bodies, the so-called Roman Curia. Vatican finances are handled with extreme discretion. Number 33. The Vatican is a state operating at a deficit. Not even Christ's representative on earth has managed to completely escape the demands for greater transparency in current times. In 2021, the Holy See released for the first time some data on the economic performance of the Vatican State. According to this information, in 2020, the Holy See had revenue of €248 million and total expenses of €315 million, resulting in a cash deficit of €67 million. This deficit was covered by the reduction in net equity, which stood at €1,379 million. Number 34. The Vatican has the highest crime rate in the world. The Vatican has the highest crime rate in the world due to the fact that it has less than 1,000 official residents. When the number of crimes committed in the Vatican over a period of time is divided by its population, we get the highest crime rate in the world. Most crimes are thefts committed by Italian foreigners or tourists, mainly pickpockets. However, Vatican City is no more dangerous than any other tourist location in Rome. Number 35. The Pope's supporters are the biggest wine consumers in the world. A survey conducted by the Wine Institute revealed that the Vatican is the country with the highest per capita consumption of this drink in the world, with an average of 74 liters or 105 bottles of the nectar of the gods per year. This amount is more than double the consumption of the French, known for being great wine lovers. Again, the demographics of the Vatican favor this dominance, as is the case with the crime rate, as 95.5% of the Vatican's population is male, with the majority being single Europeans. So, what did you think of today's video? What impressed you most? I hope this video was helpful. If you have anything to add, please share it with us in the comments section. Like the video and send the link to your closest family and friends so they can also learn more about the 35 facts about the origins of the Vatican that will surprise you. If you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on all our social networks, which will be listed below in the description. Remember, to know the past is to understand the present and prepare for the future. Until the next video.